All right, here we go. Back in the saddle. It's been a little bit. I'm going to bore these guys with my little story as we introduce the show here. Welcome to North Wright County Today, the podcast. I am Mike Schomer, founder, editor of North Wright County Today, former Ink Stained Wretch, former Patch.com, super editor, now doing this. And we're joined off the top by a crew. We've got a crew here today, which is cool. Katie, I said Katie Shatusky would be back. I did not know it would be this soon, but she loves it so much here. She just wanted to get back in the chair, and so welcome back, Katie.
Thank you so much.
And Katie's going to introduce us to our other two guests, Sam and Sammy, who are down on that end of the table.
Yes, this is Sam Eaton, and this is Sammy Tierney, if I'm saying that correctly. And we're super excited to share a little bit more about a really great mental health event called Just One that we're going to be doing in St. Michael next week.
Nice. So Just One, and Sam and Sammy, you guys are from Recklessly Alive?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the organization before we get into the event, which is going to be, you guys are going to have to watch this quick because it's next week.
So I was a teacher in the Wayzata schools. Sammy was a youth pastor, is a youth pastor. And 10 years ago, we had 2 students, a teacher, and a principal who all took their own life. And so we watched as our community didn't really know what to do or say around that topic. And so a group of youth leaders came together. We ended up putting on an event at Wayzata High School. Over 700 people came. And so we've slowly been replicating that in different communities, just trying to spread the message of hope and mental health education to as many people as we can.
The events are called Just One events, and it's because just one conversation can save a life, and just one life lost to suicide is a life lost to suicide. And so, following in the Recklessly Alive umbrella, Just One events follow working with Sam and community organizations to put on these events.
And you guys are going to be in St. Michael the week of, that would be April 13th, right? With talking to students on the 14th, and then the event that's for the community on the 16th. Tell me a little more.
So Tuesday, we'll actually be at STMA High School, and we'll be doing one of our teen outreach events, which is essentially an all-school assembly. So Sam will be speaking there, and then we'll be handing out some of our resources from Thumbs Up. And then Thursday night will be the Just One community event, and everyone is welcome to attend that. Community members, teachers, of course, students. It's definitely geared towards, I would say, middle to high school age students. But yeah, we're super excited about it, and there's also a CE credit available for teachers, educators, and things like that too.
And that will be where?
That is actually going to be at the St. Michael City Council.
Okay.
City Hall. City Hall.
City Hall, council chambers, probably,
Yes,
most likely.
yes.
What time are we kicking that off?
Doors are at 6 o'clock, and the event's from 6:30 to 8.
Okay.
It features a hip-hop artist named Caboose, who we love to work with.
Caboose.
Yes, he's
All right.
fantastic.
Okay.
So he kicks off the event just to set the vibe in the room. Some people might think it's a little awkward to go to a suicide prevention event. And so let's start with some fun. And Caboose, we've got some great door prizes to give away. We've got Target gift cards and Thumbs Up swag and other local gift door prizes for that. Then Sam shares his story about the day suicide didn't win, offers resources around depression, mental health, identification, and finding help, and then shares a story and a message of hope and healing. So it's a great event. I think we've got 8 or 9 local mental health organizations that are going to be part of the event to help take away a barrier between someone connecting with help that they need, rather than having to make a cold phone call. I met this person at this event. So I think it's a great event for teens, but also a really important opportunity for parents, coaches, educators, clergy, people who work with teens, to get this information around depression, suicidal ideation, and mental health advocacy.
Well, and it's like you said, it's a difficult thing to talk about. It's probably an equally difficult thing to present about. And when you're working in education, field of education like I do, when you have those, you wonder, what is the right response here? And I'm assuming this is, you're going community, and basically saying, look, there is no right response, but here's what you can do. So we kind of dive into that a little bit.
We know that these are life-saving events. We know that for a fact. We have equipped students and parents to have hard conversations because they went to a suicide prevention event that equipped them for like this catalytic moment of having some hard conversations or asking for help or advocating for themselves. And so I just think it's so important. We also like to have the right people in the room, right? So for a student to turn and see their guidance counselor or their peers who are part of mental health groups at their own school, or for thumbs up with their drop-in centers, for those local community resources to be present at the event, equips a student or a parent to seek that help pretty immediately.
Right.
Yeah, I would even say for coaches, like having them there to learn too more about their students and what their students' needs might be, and things to watch for too, because I think that's obviously if you're tuned into somebody and you kind of see their everyday and you notice something's off, then you might be able to say, hey, like, are you okay? You know, do you need support, and what can I do to help support you?
So we know from the research about 1 in 6 people will struggle with depression at some point in their life. About 1 in 5 will struggle with mental illness. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 24. 10, that's like 4th, 5th grade.
Right.
So it's just really important that we have some of these hard conversations, and that kind of became my mission. When we were losing people, I didn't know what I could do to help, and I came across the research that talking about suicide doesn't make it any more likely someone will attempt. It makes it much more likely they'll seek help. And so there's kind of this misnomer out there a lot of the times that we can't talk about this stuff, or we're going to put that idea there, and we know through the stats that those ideas are already there, that it's very common among us. And so we're going to be proactive. We're going to talk about these things and let people know that they're not alone. Because when I was really struggling, that's what I needed. I needed just empathy and kindness, and to understand that this is something a lot of people struggle with, and there's so many tools, there's so much help and hope for anybody who's feeling that way, and for caregivers as well. Like it can be an overwhelming thing to love someone who battles with their mental health. And so this is a place that everybody in our community can come together to rally around and just have a really important conversation, and we can model for others how to have these harder conversations.
Yeah. I know I can think every community I've stopped at along the way. I was in journalism for 25 years. I've been in school communications for 10 years. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but you can pretty much put that together. I've been impacted. You know, my community that I've covered has been impacted. And I think what happens a lot of times is there's this shame around it. You experience the event, the community knows about it, everybody learns about it. There's this little murmur that goes through the community, and everybody kind of puts their head down and says, okay, we got to move on from this. And that the response shouldn't be move on. It's how can we communicate better with each other and learn from this? Am I right?
Absolutely. And I think too, like this time of year especially, like I actually just wrote a letter to the editor in the Star News about this. Like the spring is a very difficult time for a lot of people, just seasonal mood disorder. And a lot of times people think, oh, depression and suicide rates are higher in, you know, the months of November, December, but it's actually right now. April, May, June, and July are the highest suicide rates in Minnesota specifically. So I think it's too, like the timing of this is like kind of trying to get ahead of it. Like just this week, unfortunately, I've learned of 3 suicides, all in kind of our local area. And it's just like, how can we reach people better, and how can we care for people better? And I think for me, even personally, I've struggled with mental health my whole life, and still to this day, it's hard for me to reach out for help. But it's like letting that one person know, like, hey, I'm not okay right now. And I think to your point too, like it's the validation, it's having empathy, compassion, it's listening, and it's not fixing somebody, but it's just like, what can I do to support you? Bring them a coffee, show up for them. I've had people do that for me the last couple of weeks even. I just sadly lost my dog, and it's just been really hard. And I'm like, it's the way people show up for you that, like, I don't know about you, but it keeps me going. And it does remind you, like, feelings are temporary, and this too shall pass. And okay, what do I need to do to for myself to get better? So getting into therapy and I got into my doctor this week to change meds. So it's just, again, when you talk about shame, it's like it can feel very shameful and you can feel very alone. But I think talking about it like this openly, it does help other people accept it and then know that it's okay to get help.
Sam, we talked about how you share your story. If you want to get into it a little bit here, you know, what are people going to learn about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, it's just important to know that, you know, we follow responsible guidelines. We don't share anything graphic. We don't share anything inappropriate. It's all age appropriate for people to attend. For me, it's been a lifelong battle. I've had 20 years of really struggling with my mental health. I attempted when I was 23. That's kind of the story that the talk is built around. Those are some really tough ages where there's all this pressure to figure out who you're going to be and what you're going to be and maybe get married and all of this. And then you add another layer of being a guy and like the stigma around that and feeling weakness, that struggling internally is a sign of weakness. And we know that's not true, right? Like your brain's just sick. So I use my story. We use humor too. We kind of play with some different tips and things I've learned about my mental health. But ultimately, the story is about how I decided to stay and fight through it, and how I keep fighting today. It's like one of the phrases we love to use is healing out loud. It's like we're all sharing our junk on the inside publicly. We're all healing together from different things that we've been through, loss and all of that. But we're stronger together, and there's so much beauty in sharing our weaknesses and our struggles and knowing that we can help and support each other through all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sammy, this goes to different communities throughout the year, these presentations and these I like the jam. It sounds like kind of kicks off a little bit of a party.
Yeah.
And how does the message differ from community to community?
Yeah, well, I think it's important that we are not only responding to a death by suicide in the community, right? We want to come in not only as a response, but as a proactive opportunity to have a conversation. And so that's why they are collaborative community-wide events. And so the different flavor of the community is based on who we get to partner with in the community and who the mental health organizations are and who the students are. And Caboose almost always finds the most popular teacher and gets him on stage. He just knows. And it's fantastic. And so we worked with several different hip hop artists. Caboose is coming to this one. But we found it just sets the room to make it a fun event.
Right.
We often find that a kid who didn't want to come wins a great door prize. We're really just trying to destigmatize the conversation in whatever community we're in. Having students who are working as MCs or working the doors or, so it's an immediate peer-to-peer engagement. I think that that's super important, right? So even though the event and Sam and a hip-hop artist and I go from community to community, we really want to try to ground it locally so that the resources in the community are available immediately for people. And we found in other communities, because we're a third party, we can connect disparate organizations that maybe would not have connected otherwise because a cold email went out about this fun mental health suicide prevention event with a hip-hop artist. We've got one coming up in Decorah, Iowa, and they're like, we don't have hip-hop artists in Decorah, Iowa.
We do now.
We do.
Now you do.
We do now. So I think it's just so important to ground it in the community that we're working in. Find and establish partnerships, resource and equip them. Sam's written 3 books. We give away one of the discussion guides for that. So if a youth group or a church group or a student club wants to follow their way through working through that book together, we've resourced and equipped them. We put together a list of resources of local and Minnesota-based resources so that the information people get is designed for their community and their context. We work really hard to ground it in the community and the partnerships that we're establishing in the community, even though we are traveling to different communities.
So Thumbs Up just kind of became a natural partner
They're
in this area
fantastic.
because of the work they're doing.
The best.
Yeah.
All of it's hard to even keep track of all the incredible things that Thumbs Up is doing
Wow, thank you.
in the community. But we really look up to them. We're so thankful of the long partnership that we've had, and honestly, they embody a lot of what we're trying to be.
I appreciate
awesome.
that. It's really funny. Going back to the hip hop artist, I'll be honest, when we did this first time, I was a little skeptical. I was like, a hip hop artist? Like, how is this going to go? But Caboose is so awesome. And there was one moment I will never forget. I look back. This is at Spectrum High School, by the way, in their gymnasium.
Okay.
And I
Elk
look
River
over,
Spectrum High
and
School,
there's
yep.
literally 700-800 kids with their hands in the air.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This is actually really cool. I just wasn't sure what to expect. So I think a lot of people are kind of going to go, what is this event?
We've
You gotta
had
come check it out.
some of the groups like that at, some of the middle schools. And
Yeah.
I would argue that middle school is the toughest audience,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
kids smell, they are really unsure of themselves, they don't want to put their hands up just in case, is that guy doing it? I don't want to look
Yes.
stupid.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes in, they're losing their minds.
Yeah.
So if you can reach a 12 or 13-year-old, you can reach a community, and I think that's really, really cool.
And I think that's what sets this event apart is it really is unique in that it's making mental health approachable, and it's making it something that people feel comfortable talking about. And I think even after the fact, I know we surveyed some of the families, and it was like, that was kind of what catapulted a conversation at home. Like they left there, and it wasn't just they left there, they went home and they talked about it. And that's where parents too can get vulnerable and say, hey, you know what, I've struggled before, or your aunt or uncle, or like, making it okay again. I think this goes back to like, it's being vulnerable and making it acceptable and destigmatizing it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Sam, you've been in this genre, in this area, because it's affected you personally for a while. How is social media, this is a real softball question because obviously it's changed everything, but have there been ebbs and flows? Is it as bad now as it ever been? Is it going to get worse? Like where are we? Are we starting to learn some lessons here, by saying get off your screens every once in a while, touch some grass, stuff like that? Just kind of touch on that topic. I know it's a huge topic and it's only an hour podcast, so.
Absolutely. I mean, the good news is we've started to see social media use go down. We kind of peaked in 2021, 2022, and we are starting to see that go back. We are starting to see younger generations kind of reject some of that. That being said, we also know that anything over 3 hours a day doubles your risk for depression and anxiety on social media. And the average teenager is spending 3.5 to 4 hours. That's the average, that's the middle. So many kids are exceeding that. So we do still have a lot of work to do there around helping kids find reasonable times, setting timers, that sort of thing. And I feel it even in myself. I mean, these companies have spent billions of dollars making them as addictive as possible, and especially vulnerable to people like me who struggle with their mental health because it's a dopamine hit, because it feels good. So when it's something to reach for, and it's something I still work on at 37, and then we put that in the hands of a 12 or a 14-year-old who hasn't developed a lot of impulse control, and it really is like very equivalent to smoking cigarettes in my head. It is as bad for them as that would be, and that sounds scary and maybe alarmist, but it absolutely is something that we need to continue to talk about and look at and make sure as the adults that we are helping kids and helping ourselves and our friends have healthy relationships with social media, because there are many positive things about it, like especially dog videos. Who doesn't like a dog video, right?
That's why I was here last time, was we were
Right,
talking
yeah,
about our event.
But we know the research is really clear that lots of hours on social media has a really negative impact. So that's something we all hope to continue to work on.
It's interesting you mentioned February, March, April. People go on spring break trips, and you've got Joe over here who worked his butt off and can't do a spring break trip this year, and is watching everybody else go to Cabo and Key West and Marathon or whatever. That's got to be hard.
Yeah,
it's got to be hard. I actually felt a little guilty in Colorado. I was like, I'm posting this, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, I don't want to rub it in people's faces, but.
I definitely think people can use it as a highlight reel, but, I get that. Yeah, it is a lot of comparison, and of course, cyberbullying and people who are, I'm sure you see it and hear it all day long. There's people who are so critical of anything you do and everything you do, whether it's right or wrong or indifferent.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
If we try to do these events in the spring, if we can, September Suicide Prevention Month, and so often we get a September, early October event, but to do them in April and May, because aside from spring break, it's college decisions and those things, or you didn't get a prom date and everybody else is talking about this.
There's
And
so much
I think
pressure when you get to
the
the end of a school year. I mean, and it doesn't matter what age you are. For seniors, juniors and seniors especially go through it, I think, at the end of the year. But any kid who's like, I'm in sixth grade, I'm going to be in seventh grade next year, I'm going to be at the, middle school or fifth grade here, different transitions, all those transitions and changes are looming, and that's got to weigh on you mentally, physically. Well, this is awesome. And, are you planning on making this a regular occurrence? Once you make a relationship with a community like this, do you hope to come back and reach a new audience?
We think it's great. We really love working with Thumbs Up. Then they've got all these other charters that they're working toward. And so I think any opportunity to continue a partnership rather than establish new ones, I think are fantastic. This is our third event with Thumbs Up. We did one in 2018 and one in 2019, both at Spectrum High School.
Okay.
In partnerships of youth leaders in the Elk River area. And now here to do this school day and then an event later in the week, I think is just fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a Thursday, so it doesn't interfere with church night and groups doing that, but would love to have youth groups kind
Right
of show
on.
up. And and then ideally, people come to this event and pay attention to read Sam's books or want to bring Sam in or want to do another event together or are in the next community over and want to continue to do this. And I think that establishing and developing those relationships and partnerships is way easier than cold calls with a loose relationship that we maybe have.
Right.
So we loved working with Thumbs Up. They're doing so much good in the community, and they're a great partner for us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and
Speaking
I do want to
of-
mention too, like anyone is welcome from any community. You
Right.
don't have to be just a St. Michael, Albertville person,
Nice.
resident.
So, what do you got next? I know you guys have a lot of stuff coming up as we,
Yeah.
reach the summer. I see you on golf courses all summer
Oh,
long.
yes, I do like playing a good golf scramble. Well, we did kick off our planning for our 13th annual 5K, 10K, which is September 19th. But we have a whole bunch of stuff planned for Mental Health Awareness Month in May. So I
Awesome.
actually have a newsletter going out today. So please sign up for that, and you can kind of catch up with all of the stuff that we got going on.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, we are partnering with Adventure Club in ISD 728 this summer, and we'll be bringing some of our programming into the Adventure Club. So that's another exciting
Nice.
thing. Yeah.
Including the dogs?
I'm sure we could get them there.
How did You're Not Alone go?
It went amazing. Yeah, our Party with a Purpose event was back in February, and we ended up raising over $100,000.
Oh, man, that's
It was
unbelievable.
Thank
Cool.
you again for having us on.
You bet. Yeah.
Appreciate
So
it.
that was the last time we had Katie in, which was probably, 7 weeks ago
Yes.
to promote
It's
that
amazing.
event. We're super excited for this event. We hope it goes well. The high school kids tend to get a little squirrely this time of year, so be prepared for that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and I know you already mentioned it too, but he does have 3 books, and I think you can probably share more about your books. But if you've never read it, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
where would we find those? Amazon?
Yeah, so my website's recklesslyalive.com, but yeah, Sam
Right on.
Eaton, I have all 3 of my books are on Amazon. My newest book comes out April 28th. It's called You Can Do This, Daily Affirmations to Live Recklessly Alive. So it's daily entries that encourage people and lessons I've learned along the way to care for my mental health.
Nice. Faith-based, non-faith-based, doesn't
My
matter.
first book is faith-based.
Okay.
It's more about God, and this one is more secular, so it's available to all people who might need it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so
Thank you
much.
so much
We'll
for
let you
having
get back
us.
to this beautiful day. And we are taping this on Friday, so we'll see you guys in just a couple days for that event. We hope it goes well, and I'm sure we'll have you back.
Thank you.
The door is always open.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks so much
all
for
right,
having us.
thank you
Yeah,
guys. All right, back in the main chair. Welcome back to Northwright County Today, the podcast. We are brought to you live in the well, not live because we record this from the friendly confines of the Selfie Company studios right here in historic downtown Albertville. We want to give it a shout out to Sam and Selfie Company for letting us hang out here. When we do, we try to do this every week. It's been a little sporadic here throughout March and April just because of yours truly's schedule. But Selfie Company in Albertville. Check them out on facebook.com/Selfie Company. You can book birthday parties here. You're going to see them out at proms here next month. Just a really cool vibe for the kids or families to come in here. We got rain in the forecast next couple of days. I know families like to take pictures in the Mother's Day and things like that. Pop in here, grab a studio, and take some pictures, or do a spring birthday party, or just do it for fun. Check out Sam, facebook.com, The Selfie Company, and book an appointment and get on in here. We are also brought to you by my friends over at Deerwood Bank, deerwoodbank.com. Deerwood Bank, located in St. Michael in the bank building off 241 and Melwy. Nick's not here, but he would tell you it's been a great week at the bank, because it's always a great week at Deerwood. Man, they're just raking in the accolades for like best places to work and best places to bank and things like that. So check them out now. They've got loan programs for you if you've got that big project coming up on your house or your business. They've got money to lend, and pretty decent rates before we have murmurs about the Fed looking to push rates up again a little bit. So might want to get on that loan if that's something you're looking at doing. Deerwood Bank, deerwoodbank.com. Talk to my boy Nick. He'll be back with us next week, and check them out. We are also brought to you by my friends at Stellus Health. Stellus Health is neighbors caring for neighbors, with clinics in both Buffalo and Monticello. They are doctor-owned. They are community-oriented. They just did a big survey with the community on how to treat you better. And, they're using that right now to kind of guide them into this next decade of medical care. You can hop on over to their website, stellushealth.com, and book appointments and meet doctors and find people with specialties that match your needs. They are neighbors caring for neighbors. They've got podcasts over there, probably just as interesting as this one, and blogs and articles too about the latest in medical technology and some of the amazing tools they have over there. Beautiful relationships with their neighbors, both Centricare Hospital there in Monty and the Buffalo Hospital, which is owned by Alina there in Buffalo. So, can't say enough good things about our sponsor, Stellus Health, stellushealth.com. It is early April, still in the first thirds of April, so we're kind of trying to get out of the grips of winter and into spring, but road construction, my friends, waits for nobody. So pay attention out there. Some major projects have popped up here in the past few days. Of course, number one is the GAP project, which is connecting Albertville and Monticello with 6 lanes of freeway traffic on Interstate 94. This is the last year. If I had an applause sign behind me, I'd light it up right now, but it is the last year for I-94 work between Maple Grove and Clearwater, Minnesota. So that stretch of road just between Albertville and Monticello this year on the eastbound side. So if you're coming into the Twin Cities from the Monty area, you live in Albertville, you catch the 19 exit, you're going to see a little work on the eastbound side of the road while they get that widened out to 6 lanes. It is going to remain 4 lanes on both sides all summer long, which will be doable for most of the day. Obviously, rush hour traffic, you're going to see some major slowdowns in that stretch. And of course, Thursday night cabin traffic. It used to be a Friday thing. It is now a Thursday night thing. Cabin traffic throughout the summer on that westbound side will be kind of a pain. Even though they're working on the eastbound side, they do have that far left lane closed on the westbound side. So that's going to be tough. Enough about 94. We got some local roads seeing some work. 137 between Albertville and Otsego over there by the new Costco. You're going to see some road work over there. The roundabouts are done, but we're going to see some curb and gutter work, turn lanes into the new Costco complex there. Landscaping, things like that. That road's going to get a turn lane in the middle, some widening done there. And then, of course, the roundabouts at the freeway exits will be kind of a pain for people who jump off the road there at 137. So look for that. That was supposed to start this week of April 7th. It has not, but I would assume, despite the wet weather that's forecast throughout this middle of March, we'll be seeing some road work over there done. And then, of course, the huge one for our friends out in the Monticello, Buffalo area is the Highway 25 closure. That is a complete closure between Kelberg Court, which is down by Walmart, past Walmart, where the trailer homes are, all the way down to the Walmart intersection in Buffalo. So that's going to be a pain. We're going to have to live with that through this summer, but going to be a beautiful stretch of highway with center turn lanes once that's done. Those intersections with 37 and a couple of the crossroads will be open for people, but only to get to the detours. So check out MnDOT, the Highway 25 project on MnDOT for more information on that. We'll have some stories coming up on the website too with that. Couple big events coming up. My friends over at the BK Tap House are going to team up with my other friends over at SOAR. Shout out to SOAR. Used to have a little actor in the family, actress, Maddie, who's been on the podcast before, has done a couple shows with SOAR. They're going to do a Broadway brunch at the end of this month, April 25th. That is 9 a.m. at the BK Tap House in Bourbon Room. That's going to be a fun morning. They're going to do shows from the Rock of Ages musical. Some good stuff with the group from SOAR, and then some fun brunch food and drinks, of course, from our friends at BK Tap House. Check that out on Facebook. There's an event posted by BK Tap House. Let's see, we've got bingo night coming up Friday, the night before, over at, it's a Jindo Music bingo night. I do not know Jindo music. I'm sure if Nick was here, he'd probably inform me, or Sam would be rolling her eyes because they know. But I'm, not hip to Jindo. But check it out over at the Liberty in St. Michael. That is 7 o'clock on Friday, April 24th. If you haven't been there since a fish fry, it's a good chance to get back over there, get some food. And then, just some other cool events kind of on the map coming up this spring. There is a Beyond the Bar bingo fundraiser located at the Bunker Hills Event Center. That is also on April 24th. So that's over in the Anoka area. And then, of course, all the summer festivals are starting to hit the calendar. So check out everything from Albertville Friendly City Days, which again is June 10th to June 14th, to our friends in Zimmerman who kick it all off on Memorial Day weekend, Thursday, May 21st through the 25th. All those community celebrations are coming up right around the corner. Another fun one coming up down in Maple Grove, you might want to check out, 10 o'clock on Saturday, April 25th. Maple Grove Vintage Market. This is all stuff that I probably had when I was a kid or a college student, because I'm vintage myself now. But 10 o'clock, April 25th at the Community Center, Maple Grove Vintage Market. Probably some rotary phones and some collectible stereos and things like that. Maybe even some cassette tapes or VCR tapes or things like that. down there at that Vintage Fest over in one of our neighboring communities of Maple Grove. Another thing to look out for, all of the music and stuff that's going to be going around. Rockwoods will have their Wednesday night bonfires kicking off here in May. Those are always popular and a fun event, and a good chance to get a bite to eat and a adult drink and check out that. And then, of course, our friends over at Ride for Life have announced their big event for Saturday, June 20th at the newly remodeled 152 Club Bar and Grill. That will be kicking off at about 9 o'clock in the morning. They usually roll out around 10. And the benefactors for that this year will be Cindy Kilmer, my friend Cindy Kilmer, who just passed away from her battle with cancer recently. And but we still want to raise money for her family and in memory of Cindy. And then we have Jenna Reemps, Josh Hill, and Megan Sheminsky, and that's another one that's near and dear to our hearts because Corey's a friend of the program, Corey over at Breverie Brank, and just great people. So rest easy, Cindy. We're still going to look out for your family. My family has been tied in with Chad Smith Ride for Life for coming up on a decade now, and they're special people who do amazing things for people in our community. Not all of them are still with us, but we use this event to remember them, and we use this event to pass on the benefits and things like that we can to other people in our community that lift those families up the way they've lifted up families in the past, including my family. I've shared the story of how my family got to go to Disney World in Florida thanks to our friends at Chad Smith, and that was an amazing experience before my kids' grandmother passed away from her battle with cancer. So Chad Smith Ride for Life, give those guys a shout out. They are coming up June 20th, which is 6, 8, 9, 10 weeks from now, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks from now, but before you know it, we'll be here, and that is always excuse me, the weekend of Father's Day, June 20th this year. So, all right, we're going to wind things down a little bit here. We had a great conversation with Katie and Sam and Sammy about that special event that's coming up in St. Michael called Just One. Again, that will be Thursday. We'll share more information about that on our website and on Facebook. But we hope you enjoyed meeting those guys. We hope they're back in our community soon. These are amazing events that really address an issue that when I was 20, 25, we didn't discuss the way that we discuss now. And part of that is a change in our approach to that. And one of the people responsible for that is a guy like Craig Renz, who is a sponsor of North Wright County Today, the podcast. Craig is owner and operator of Solutions Counseling in St. Michael, and they are a longtime sponsor of the program. Like I said, they are located off Thielen Drive in St. Michael, or you can find them at getcounseling.org. Solutions has literally dozens of therapists ready to help you because they believe mental health is just as important as physical health, and so do we. So you're going to want to check them out at getcounseling.org. You can meet some of the providers over there, set up an appointment, get a tour of the facility, find the person that you want to work with to prioritize your mental health in a way that you would your physical health. And we just, we know that's so important. And we like having you here. And the guys and gals at Solutions, Craig and Caleb and Mary Ann and all the people on down who are providers over there are ready to help you. So check them out, getcounseling.org, or just click through the ad on our website to learn more about our friends at Solutions. And finally, we are brought to you by our friends over at Peggy Shum Tax Provider, CPAPSS.com. That's Peggy Shum and Associates. There's the word I'm looking for, Associates. It is tax season. We are nearing the deadline. I promise that it's going to be okay because you got somebody like Peggy Shum in your community to help you prepare your taxes. Peggy knows Minnesota tax laws. She knows the federal tax laws. She can help you itemize and get the best return for your financial health. So check her out at CPAPSS.com or visit the Midwest One Bank building in St. Michael right there next to Chipotle, where she's up on the second floor. Peggy Shum is a lifelong St. Michael resident, so she knows the ins and outs here. And if you want to work with somebody local, we couldn't recommend anybody better than Peggy. All right, that should do her for another pod. It is going to be a busy April coming up. Check out all the events on our website. We'll have some big news coming up in terms of elections soon. We also hope to catch up with some of our candidates again here throughout the spring and summer, so we can inform you as a voter and introduce these people who have literally kind of stuck their necks out and put their names on the line in an effort to serve their community, from city council to state legislature to federal races. So look for some of those conversations coming soon. And we'll have more on all the summer fun to come. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you this week around the community. And if you see me around wearing a North Wright County Today polo or St. Michael shirt, just tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, how's it going? Love the podcast. Love what you do. Or if you hate what I do, you can give me some good ideas on how to make it better. Right? Anyway, everybody, it costs nothing to be kind. Be nice out there and be safe. Peace.